By the late 2nd century BC, so many of Rome's poor had been displaced from rural areas that cities and towns were overrun. Incredibly, the city of Rome ballooned to nearly 1 million souls. A city this size was unheard of in ancient times. Europe wouldn't again see a city as large as ancient Rome until the Industrial Revolution.
What I think you'd notice, when you approached the city, you'd go through streets crowded on both sides with tombs. You'd smell bodies burning. It'd be like an American roast on a Saturday evening, except it'd be humans burning. Contrast between rich and poor would be quite striking. Rome appears like every city in the Roman Empire, except it's bigger, grander, more luxurious. Everyone from all over the Mediterranean came pouring in, slaves from the east, Greeks wanting to make a fortune. It was a place where you could make money. It was like New York is to America or to Europeans, a dream place.
People weren't the only thing that poured into Rome. The center of the known world was also the greatest importer of everything on the planet. If you were rich enough to enjoy it, Rome was indeed Rome, the grand and glorious marketplace of the world. Cargo unloaded in the port was spectacular in both volume and quality. Marble, papyrus, jewels, gold, spices, silk, ivory, fur, and linen arrived by the shipload. Romans were voracious consumers of wine, oil, and wheat, and wealthy connoisseurs of the finest luxury goods their empire had to offer.
The only way in which we could have a city like Rome, a city of 1 million people perhaps, the only way that could exist in the ancient world is if the goods from this huge empire flood into it to help it survive. In a very basic way, you cannot feed a population of 1 million on the local hinterland of a city. That's one of the first ways in which provinces are exploited.
Fantastic amounts of grain now came from North Africa, Sicily, and Sardinia. The city of Rome alone devoured 400,000 tons each year, almost a quarter of which was now given away to the poor. The army needed another 150,000 tons to stay on its feet. Rome also imported spices and perfume from the east, olive oil and fish sauce from Spain, pottery from Gaul. Rome's appetites were insatiable, and yet her exports were meager by any standards. A great many ships entered port full and left empty. But for all the riches she consumed, the huge city did trade something of great worth. What Rome exported to her colonies and provinces above all was Romanness. The army spread a unifying language, Latin, throughout the empire, as well as a single currency, something European countries are attempting again today. But Rome's influence went much deeper still. It's hard to imagine what thoughts went through the minds of the recently conquered when their new colonizers set about building a Roman town. Surely they knew they were conquered when they saw their humble village transformed into a majestic city of marble and stone.
What's remarkable about the Roman Empire is that wherever you went, you found a Roman town. All towns were remarkably alike. So basically what the Romans succeeded in doing is spreading images of Rome all over the empire.
In fact, it's not unreasonable to credit the Roman Empire with inventing the city as we know it, along with state-of-the-art technology, architecture, and building techniques. But it was sometime in the 2nd century BC that Roman builders discovered something truly momentous about what happens when you add volcanic ash to lime.
When they first explained to me that we would use this ash to make a bridge, I didn't understand. It It's hard to believe until you see it. But when we mix it with water, limestone, and gravel, it'll turn into stone, harder than you can believe. It's a fantastic thing. You can make a wall as hard as any stone.
They called it cimentum, the first true concrete. It's the key reason why so much of what Rome built still survives today.